Hey, how's it going, guys? This is Tom from UDS with another edition of the Quarantine Sessions, where I chat to people a lot cooler than myself in the wonderful land of lockdown. Now, my guest this week is a true Florida man, but the only headlines he's making is for awesome music. If his band isn't on your radar yet, they soon will be. It is my pleasure to introduce Casey Crawford of the most handsomest band working today, Virginity.
We are so handsome. Thank you.
I mean, there is no disputing it. It is undisputed. How are you doing in these strange times?
Oh, fine. As far as our band is concerned, like we've never been more creative. Like we're probably going to talk about our EP here in a second, which is going to come out pretty soon. But we have written 20 songs for LP2, which we've begun to demo.
20 already?
Yeah.
Dang.
It's this thing started and I had a couple, and then I was just like, man, I have nothing to do. I guess I should write songs. And then I had a mental breakdown and I wrote like 13.
Jeez. At least it's a productive mental breakdown, I guess.
Yeah, totally. But it was not like I would have days where I'd just be like, I'm just gonna end it all.
Oh no,
I can't. And my wife was like, "You've written like 5 songs in the last week. I think your output's fine."
Well, for the unfortunate few who wouldn't have heard of your music and the songs that you've been writing, would you mind just in your own words introducing yourself and Virginity?
Sure. I'm Casey. The other 2 dudes in my band are Jim Nefferdorf and Jordan Schroyer, who are both just been for like my band. My old high school band used to play with Jordan's old high school band and stuff.
Oh, cool.
And Jim is a little bit older than me, and he was actually in a band that I just really loved, a ska band called Brownie Points. And then we weirdly became friends, even though there's like sort of a big age gap. Jim likes to take in younger boys. You know, anybody will tell you that. No, that's not true.
that's a little soundbite from the start.
Oh God, I hope he watches this. Anyways, yeah. So me and Jim were just friends for 10 years, and I was doing stand-up comedy, and I did stand-up for like 5 years, and it was like a fun thing or whatever. It was, long after what I felt my music career had ended, which was post high school. I had a kid, and I felt like, well, that part of my life was over. So I didn't do music for 12 years, and then I did stand up, and then I was feeling stagnant with stand up. So I started writing these songs, and I was going through, I don't know, kind of a tough like mental thing with like just my mental health, and also I was having some issues with my stepdad. So I started writing all these songs, and that's what became our first LP with time. And so me and Jim just started writing it and recording it. And it was just supposed to be like a creative project. I didn't even know if it would come out. It was just like, this is a cool thing to do and kill some time.
Sure.
And it's not stand up. So that's great. And then our friends in this band, Dikembe, he from Gainesville.
Great band.
Great band, great friends. They're buddies of mine. I had opened, like how I got to know them is I opened for them doing stand-up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like I did this one weird show where they wanted to stand up to open, and Dikembe was on it. And I was like, okay, I would do anything. That's fine. And we got to know each other there, and they were like, yo, we're playing a show on 420. You should come open that show too. That'll be funny. Yeah, everyone will be high. It'll be hilarious. It wasn't.
Oh, no.
No one's high at the beginning of the show. But anyways, I became friends with them. They kind of caught wind of us recording, asked if they could hear it, and then asked if they could put it out for us. And I was just like, okay. Nice. And then it just sort of snowballed out of that. And we started playing shows and stuff. Like, I didn't even think we'd be a show playing entity.
So it's all very organic then.
yes, it all just sort of naturally flowed from just doing something I was doing for myself, which was like, you know, that's when I look back at it now, I'm just like, yeah, that's cool.
That's what you want. You want those memories. But obviously, we're all friends here, Casey. And in the effort of becoming better friends and getting to know each other a little bit better, I want to know if you could be a type of sandwich, what kind of sandwich would you be?
Ooh, man, you know, I'm like, I want to say something like fancy, but really, like, what I love more than anything is like process, processed regular American cheese, like a Kraft single on shitty Wonder Bread and like a piece of ham grilled up with butter in a pan. I mean, it's about as low class as you can get, but holy shit, I would eat one of those every day if I could.
A sandwich for the people.
That's right.
I'm a huge Simpsons fan, and I always go back to the scene where Homer tries to eat 64 slices of American cheese and ends up going blind. I've often wanted to try that and just to see if it happens, but it's probably a risk not worth taking.
I wouldn't. I would not eat that much. I know, like when you're eating it, like as soon as it touches your palate, your body kind of instantly starts being like, "Spit this out! Don't please, don't put this in us."
But damn, it tastes so good. You just got to fight those urges. Uh, but on more musical matters, at the time of recording, your new EP, Death to the Party, is about less than a month away now.
Yep.
What can people expect from this release?
Same shit. No, it's like I don't know. I mean, it's 4 songs. One of them's out. People have heard "Bad Call," which I feel is it's a little bit different than with time. We're slowly making our way. I don't know, and especially with like the newer songs that we're writing now, like we've sort of continued the exodus from like I don't what I feel is like a pretty bass pop punk emo place to a little more power poppy. There's a little more thought of like it's just generally more thought out. Like with time is like pretty bare emotion, and I didn't put much thought into like the actual songs themselves. Like I was just like I'm saying what I gotta say, and then I'm getting out. Which is cool. That's a great way to do it. But now and I'm still doing the same thing in a sense lyrically, but also I'm just like I could probably come up with a better melody than the first thought I had.
So the process this time was a lot more, for lack of a better phrase, technical. It was more sort of refined.
Like more refined. We thought about it more as way more collaborative. Like with time
Okay.
is very much me and and then Jim played drums to what I wrote. This time, like we sent things back and forth a little bit more, and like he was just like, I got an idea for this part, and I would be like, okay. So like it's a little less me, and we're becoming more of a real band, and yeah.
Awesome. Well, on your socials, you mentioned Bad Call. There is a picture of famous comic actor Jerry Seinfeld holding up a copy of it. Now, I don't know if you've heard, like, it's not my place to really say, but some people are claiming the image is photoshopped. Can you put these scandalous rumors to bed?
Yeah, well, like as I said, I did stand up, so obviously I know Jerry Seinfeld. We all do.
All comedians do.
Yeah, when you decide to do stand up, he comes to your house the next day. He tells you what the deal is, and you like, and so it was no big deal for me to just hand him the one. Even though this isn't getting a physical release, I made one record of it, and I didn't put the real cover on it, and I handed it to Jerry.
Then you watch B Movie in its entirety, and he left on his way.
Yeah, of course. Well, you gotta sit through B Movie when Jerry comes over.
That's it. It's all part of being a stand-up comedian. But speaking of Bad Call, in more serious matters, you released a video alongside the track, which was it all entirely shadow puppetry, basically?
Yeah.
How much work went into that? Because it was all practical, wasn't it?
It was all practical. It was an insane amount of work. So when we signed with Wiretap, he was like, we're going to need a music video for at least one, song. And we were like, okay. And so we started kind of brainstorming it, and then we got told that we couldn't leave our houses. So we're like, shit, what are we going to do? We can't get together to shoot this video. And then me and my wife just started brainstorming. And then I was playing with a flashlight, and I was just like, like shooting it against the wall. And I was like talking with it. And I was like, what if we did like a music video like this? Just like my hand or whatever. And she was like, well, I like the shadow puppets. Your hand's a terrible idea. And then we just sort of fleshed out this idea and tried to figure out how to do it, which is more or less, we shot it in the room I'm in right now. We tied a sheet to a ladder to my bookshelf, and we cut out cardboard for the head thing with the empty spot in the middle, and we shined a light through the sheet. And so we filmed the sheet on the other side.
What? So it was literally just the two of you?
Oh no. So then we got, no, because I had to ruin my children's day with this, because we needed help. I needed someone to man the camera. So we got our oldest, my son, who's 13, to man the camera, because it couldn't move at all. If it moved at all, it kind of like would fuck the whole thing up. So what is happening is, like, I am laying on my belly and I'm working the mouth. My daughter is raising the things up into the head, raising them up. And my wife is kind of leaning over from the side off the ladder, and she's lowering the stuff down from above. So there are points where there's 3 different moving parts happening. It was, I mean, it took days, it took a whole day if you add it all up and stuff. And then it took us like 6 hours probably to just like cut all the little shapes out and stuff. Like it was an insane amount of work, but it can't, like, I couldn't believe like how kind of cool looking it came out. So
yeah, absolutely. Like it looks like something, like I mean, if you told me it was like done by a professional company, I would absolutely believe you. The fact that it was done entirely by your own family is amazing. I would have loved to have seen like the behind the scenes of that. I bet it was super entertaining.
If you want, at some point, if you message me or something on Twitter, I took pictures of the whole thing, because I was just like, this is so shitty and fucked up looking. Like, I can't believe like how great it came out.
DIY is always the way to go. But speaking of your socials, I take it you run the Virginity Twitter account.
I do. The other 2 dudes in my band don't want to even know about like that half of things.
I mean, Twitter can be, it's either a beautiful place or the worst place. But one of the best things I've seen on it recently is that you put out an open call to discuss Scoob. And I just wanted to know what your thoughts are on Scoob.
Scoob, I'm a lifelong Scooby-Doo lover, and I was excited for Scoob, sorta. And it was a little bit of a letdown.
Oh no! I mean, I hold the old 2000 whatever one in such high regard that I am so hesitant to watch it. But
yeah, there's some great jokes in it. And also they do the classic Scooby-Doo intro from the old cartoon, but in a really new and very crisp looking animation style. That's almost worth the watch just to see that 30 seconds.
Oh, interesting. I shall definitely check it out. Scoob, tentatively recommended by Virginity. So obviously no one can tour at the moment, which obviously sucks. But looking back to better times, have you got any crazy stories from either touring or playing live that you can share with the world?
Do I? I don't know if we really do, because like we've only played like 12 or 13 shows or something. Like we just sort of put our toe in the show playing world because we didn't know if we were gonna, and then we were like, yeah, we are. And then we started booking a tour right before this happened, because we're like, yeah, this is fun, we're gonna keep doing this. And then it got canceled, so we're like, well, fuck, we'll do it later. So like nothing really that crazy has happened at any of our shows this time. So far we just didn't get along far enough to have a crazy story really yet. When we opened for Chris Farron a couple months ago.
Friend of the show, we've had him on.
Yeah, I saw that. And so that was fun. It was whatever. It was a good show. Chris is a nice dude. then when we left, that show was in Tampa, which is about 3 hours from where we live. And we were driving home, and there was a Hard Rock casino on the way. And they were like, we should stop the casino. And I was like, I've never been to a casino. And they were like, we have to stop now. So we went, and I lost $20 in 10 seconds.
Oof.
And my drummer and our bass player immediately like within a half an hour, lost collectively like $380 or something. And then we left. I was like, why did we ruin this great night? Like,
wow, that is an expensive night out.
yeah, it was funny. At least there were like, it was totally worth it for me, because at like one of the tables there was like a classic like casino going Southern guy who he seemed like a fucking movie, like a movie character. Like the guy like put down the cards, we were playing blackjack, and he looks at like this blonde woman across the table. He's like, now come on, sugar, you know you got to hit on that. Come on. And I was just like, oh my god, this guy's incredible.
Oh, you should have slipped him a copy of the album. He probably dug it.
Dude, oh man, I would have paid like $100 just to be like, can I just follow you around for the rest of the night? You're like a character, dude.
Literally Yosemite Sam personified. Anyway, so looking from the past to the future, what is left on your band bucket list to achieve?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I have such little expectations for this band that it became a band in and of itself was something not on the list. So like we've already done like, like we played fests, and that was really cool. And we played with a bunch of like bands that I really love already. And there, are more than what I assumed would be 12 people listening to our music. Like, I'm pretty content. But like anything else is like icing on the cake. It like with time made it into the world, which I didn't think necessarily would happen. So anything past that is fucking gravy, dude.
Man, that's a good attitude to have. And obviously, if you ever do find yourselves across the pond, we'd love to have you over here as well.
Dude, oh god, I hope that we can make that happen someday. Like, I have noticed that like there are at least a handful of people listening to us over there on that side of the pond. So that'd be, I'd love to. That might be one of the bucket list things. I would love to go anywhere to play, but I would certainly love to go to the UK. It's like all of my favorite things come from there.
What are some of your favorite British things then?
I'm a big Potterhead. Got a lightning bolt tattoo.
Very cool. Very cool.
I love Doctor Who. Neil Gaiman's my favorite author of all time.
Oh man, Neverwhere is one of my favorite books ever.
Oh dude, that's my favorite one.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, I feel like I can't even like really appreciate it as much because I've never been on the tube or seen the like system and stuff. Like I'm only like I looked at a map to try and like I don't know, get some sort of visualization on like all the things he's referencing in the book and stuff.
It is crazy because I don't live in London, but I go up there quite a lot, and it is crazy how much, even though it's written nearly 25 years ago now, it's still exactly the same, and you can just imagine it the way that he's presenting it in this magical world. It's great. Also fun fact, I was named after a Doctor Who. My name is Tom Baker, so I'm named after Fourth Doctor. So
that's awesome.
Small world. But actually, I guess speaking of books and TV shows, Doctor Who, sci-fi, and everything, we at UDS talk about the breadth of pop culture. We talk about movies, we talk about video games, we talk about everything. So with that in mind, if you're going to have a Virginity track featured in anything, what would it be?
Ooh, damn. I would love for it to be in, I don't know if I would have said this a week ago, but it's definitely the right answer, but a Tony Hawk video game. Just because that's such a that's such a base for like anybody around like our ages like musical taste is hearing
Absolutely.
songs from Tony Hawk. Yeah, like absolutely. That's like that would fucking rule.
I mean, that's one of the only things that kind of disappointed me about the trailer is that they said they're only going to use the original soundtrack because, as you said, it was such a launching point for so many people's music taste. It would be great to have another generation of bands coming up that get featured in the same way because, I mean, Dead Kennedys, Papa Roach,
Sure.
AC/DC, all of these bands that I must have been like, I don't know, 7 or 8 and just being like, my mind is blown by all of these. And yeah, it'd be great just to have another generation of bands like that. So maybe they'll do like a split. Maybe they'll do half the original soundtrack, half new bands. But I think that'd be the way to go.
I think there will be. He said there was going to be the original soundtrack and more. So
I see. That
we'll
would be the best way.
What the and more is. Yeah, like I'm of two minds about it because it would be cool. Like, you know, there's new bands and stuff. Like everybody fucking knows who Goldfinger is now. So it'd be cool to get more new bands. But at the same time, when I'm launching over the half pipe in the hangar, I want to fucking hear Rage Against the Machines.
Absolutely. Man, yeah, it's going to find the balance. I still have like calluses on my thumbs from doing just manuals 24/7 on the PS1, just rubbing that up and down.
Don't you think that this is like a sidebar? But I was talking about this with someone. I feel Tony Hawk Pro Skater, the video game, changed actual real skating. Like, I feel like people did something in the game. They were just like, I mean, it's basically the same physics as real life. I'm just going to try this, and started doing like these insane combos in real life that people do. That I feel like didn't happen prior to the video game.
That's it. Like, I mean, at least over here, skate culture wasn't really, I mean, it was around, but it wasn't as big until Tony Hawk came around. And then everyone in school had a skateboard all of a sudden, and everywhere just either became a skate park or we did something to make it a skate park. We put up plasterboard or whatever. So it definitely brought in a whole new generation. And I feel in the past sort of, I don't know, I guess nearly a decade where we haven't had a new skating game, it's kind of died down a bit. So it'd be interesting to see whether or not this is just nostalgia or if it does entice new people in as well.
I mean, it does come and go in waves. Like I've read Tony Hawk's autobiography like 3 or 4, maybe even 5 times. And like, that's more or less like the way that it goes, or it has gone for him, is like, he's seen like multiple peaks of popularity and then like, you know, diving so low that he like is like having to like sell his car and shit to survive. Like,
I did see there was an 11-year-old Brazilian kid who did a 1080 for the first time, which is insane.
I saw that. That's crazy. I feel like you'd have to be an 11-year-old to do that, because like the wind could just catch your slight little frame and spin you around.
Yeah, do it again when he's 20s and got a bit of a beer belly.
Yeah, good luck. You got to weigh 87 pounds.
That's it. I wish. Now, this is a segment that we like to do, which normally it either goes down really well or it goes down like a lead balloon. So you've been warned. It's called Desert Island Discs. So the concept is you're stranded on a desert island. You can take 1 album, 1 movie, and 1 luxury item with you. What would they be?
Okay, 1 album. Brutal.
I know, right?
Oh God, what a nightmare scenario. I'm probably gonna bring. Fuck, that's so hard.
I told you it'd go down like a lead balloon.
That's so hard. I'm like trying to think, like, what could I stomach hearing forever? Like, it'd either be like based on a true story by The Starting Line. That's like one of my favorite albums of all time. Or Worry by Jeff Rosenstock. One of those, maybe. What else was it? One
movie and 1 luxury item.
1 movie. I'm going to bring That Thing You Do, hands down. Not even a question about that. I could watch that movie every day. and I guess would have to in this desert island where
You're not
have
going to be able to do anything else.
a DVD player and electricity. This island doesn't sound so deserted, bro.
You just make it home. You just make it home.
One luxury item. What's that entail? Just just anything. I'd bring a guitar, acoustic guitar.
There you go. That's a popular choice. Some people go for the really obvious stuff, like they say they go for like a bed, but I think guitar is probably what I would go for.
Yeah, I'll find something to lay on. Again, this deserted island has electricity. I'm willing to bet I can find a couple other luxury items.
You just use your imagination. Sand is pretty soft, I think. I've never slept on the beach, I'm assuming. But that's positive.
I live on the beach. It's pretty soft.
We live about 7 minutes from the beach, but it's all pebbles and stones, so it's not comfortable. But it's okay. It's okay. At least you know it is still the sea. But that's positive thinking, and we like to advocate positivity here at UDS. And one of the ways we do that is through inspirational quotes. And one of my favorites is, "I can't believe I ate the whole thing." Because if you keep reminding yourself that you did eat the whole thing, then whatever you're doing, you can eat the whole thing. What would be your inspirational quote to share with the world?
My inspirational quote. That's tough. So many good ones. I don't know. I don't know. If I just had like a personal piece of advice to give to somebody, I would just say, just do whatever you're doing and don't worry about what anyone else is doing. That's like the best way to go through life, probably.
That's
just focus on your shit and don't compare it to other people's shit, and you'll be much happier with it.
Absolutely can vouch for that. Well, none of us can really plan for the rest of the year. It's terrible. We're living in hell. But as best as you can, what does the rest of 2020 have in store for Virginity?
Well, so the CP will come out, which is cool. It's like I hardly ever think about it because it's been done a while, and now we're a good deal into writing the next thing. So that I kind of constantly forget that everyone hasn't heard it yet. Because I don't think about it. So that EP will come out, and that'll be something for people to listen to. I won't listen to it. I don't want to listen to it anymore. I already did, and I had to play it. But hopefully people will like that. And we're writing and we're demoing, and we're hoping to have our next LP out towards the beginning of 2021.
Awesome. Not long, really.
No, not at all. Yeah, like the CP is coming out 1 year and 1 day since With Time came out.
It's so, meant to be. It's meant to be.
And then we'll have that out hopefully at the beginning of next year. We're basically done demoing, so now we just have to like record it for real.
Awesome. Can't wait to hear it. So the one question we always end all of our interviews with is, we are UDS, which stands for Upside Down Shark. Don't ask me why. It's just the name we thought up and it's stuck. But with that in mind, Casey, what would be your favorite shark? And it can be real, it can be fictional, it can be whatever you want. So what would be your favorite shark?
My favorite shark. Oh God, I'm trying to think of its name. Shit.
Describe it.
It's like half man, half shark. It's
street sharks.
No, not street sharks, but very close to that. It's a DC villain in DC Comics.
I can picture it in my head, but I can't remember.
Yeah, like I can't think of his name, but that's the first thing I thought of when I thought of shark.
King Shark.
King Shark, thank you.
Google to the rescue.
Why couldn't I think of that? I'm staring on my bookshelf up here at like 900 DC comics, and I'm just like, God, the answer's in there somewhere.
It often is. Where can people find Virginity online?
So we are at Virginity is Rad on Instagram and Twitter, and then our website is virginityisrad.com.
It sure is. That'll
take you to all the things that you might want.
And more, and more.
And
I can
so much
guarantee.
more.
Absolutely. Well, Casey, thank you so much for your time today. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you.
Yeah, you too, man. Thanks for having me. This was fun.
Awesome. Well, make sure you guys at home listen to Death to the Party on June 5th, wherever you listen to good music. Make sure to subscribe for more interviews with cool musicians, including your tour mate, Chris Farron, and we shall catch you next time.